watching www.thepapare.com, and after an extended hour of the break, we are back with the breakdown. Schools rugby second round has kick-started, and we were treated to some brilliant games in the first round. Shanaka, when we say school rugby, a lot of people would be thinking it's just the cup, but the plate segment, it's flaring up already.
Yeah, all these teams have something to play for. They want to play in the cup championship, so that's something that they're all eyeing. But I think the competition is really hotting up here as well. Science College leading at the moment, although they've only played the 2 games. St. Anthony is probably a team that we felt should have made it to the cup competition, but they're in second place at the moment. So real quality between Science and Anthony's Dharmaraja Kingswood in that top 4 of the B segment. Sudarshana, it's looking good.
Absolutely. And what's going to happen is, if Vidyartha also a challenger, because they had only lost to Kingswood College in the first round, so they will be looking to up their game as well. If that happens, that competition for the top 4 places is going to be very crucial.
Yeah, it's a strong school, isn't it? It's a very strong rugby playing school. Vidyartha have had a rugby culture in the past, and they've got a boxing culture as well, which means that everybody's very fit and they are not strangers to physical aggression. And with guys like Jason Disanayake really coming into the limelight in the national circuit, I think that will inspire a lot of these Vidyartha boys to make things better for themselves. And I think they have the firepower to do it. Let's wait and see whether they can. But this segment, the quality of rugby may be just 1 notch below, but the competitiveness is the same.
Absolutely. So let's wait and see who will come up to the A division at the end of the second round, and we move on to the top segment. Opening game, Isipatana versus Sahira. Much was expected of Sahira because they were making waves. Isipatana were the reigning champions, and they made sure to show everybody why they were the reigning champions.
Yeah, I was actually a little disappointed with Sahira on the day, but when you look at the fact that they were missing 2 of their really good players, they were missing their skipper, and they were missing Zahid Singhavansa, and they were missing Razik, who is their number 12 and has been a real unsung hero for them. So a couple of guys with a lot of work to do. One was Amat, the scrum half, one was Minhaj, the outside centre, and obviously Yusran Lantra as well. They were missing Sueto also at the back. So with all those experienced players out, I didn't think Sahira were really in the game, and I expected some running rugby. I expected them to play with the same kind of flair that Isipatana were going to play, and I expected a real try fest. In the end, we did get a try fest, but most of those tries were scored by Isipatana. I thought Sumuduran Kotke came back into his own. We hadn't seen the best of him in the first round, but now watch out defenses, this guy is coming, and it was a really, I think the turning point for him was when he scored that try or made the try against Royal. That's where things turned around for him, and now he's really attacking the lines the way he used to with Kushan Indunil inside him. And it's looking a very dangerous combination with him and Chamud Fernando. So 48 points to 10, I think they deserve that result. They probably could have got 50 points as well. But Sahira, without those key players, I think they're struggling because depth is a problem for them.
For Isipatana, like you mentioned, watch out defenses. When that Patana line gets working, it looks like they can create anything from anywhere out the field.
They do, and I think the reason that happens is because Harit Bandara takes some really good options, Sudarshana. We've watched Anuka Boyagoda, he's taken some good options as well this season, but in terms of adjusting to what's going on around him, I think Harit Bandara is probably a shade ahead at the moment, and Randy Silva has also been very good. I mean, he's a lanky guy. He doesn't look like he's playing brilliantly, because when you've got a tall fly half with long legs, sometimes it just looks a bit incongruous, but the guy is taking some very good options as well, and he's very quick with his distribution. He's got a nice long flat pass, both of them do, and which makes life a lot easier for the guys outside because they've got 1 less defender to beat.
Shanaka, Isipatana has had a problem with the forwards throughout this season, and knowing Shamli Nawaz and his style of play, and Sahira was very strong with their forwards. Did you get what you expected from the Sahira forwards going forward? Yes, we know that their captain, who is the leader in that pack, is missing, but did you expect what you wanted from the Sahira forwards?
Well, they couldn't get their hands on the ball to start with, Sudarshana, and that was a problem in their line-out, I think, and they really needed their line-out to go a little bit better than it did. But I thought they missed a trick by trying to play Isipatana at their own game. They could have tried to just hammer the fringes a little bit more, run at guys like Randy, run at guys like Harit Bandara, and see if you can get them on the ground and create some pressure that way. And I thought they missed a trick in not changing their game plan there, but they were missing a little bit of leadership there as well, Sudarshana. So they're an inexperienced team. They're going to get better, but this was just a team that was too good for them on the day.
Absolutely. Missing your fly-up is never good for the team. Let's move on to the next game. Wesley College versus St. Joseph's. Josephians walked into the game as the favourites, but Wesley completely outsmarted them.
Well, I don't know why they were favourites, Sudarshana. Given the way this game has, this season has gone, I would have thought Wesley should be favourites going into that match. And once again, I think there was a match-turning moment when I think Avantha Lee was yellow carded, and Gamunu Chethi was already on his way. He had 2-on-1, and if the referee had played advantage, St. Joseph's may have scored, and that might have changed the game or the complexion of the game, especially with Avantha Lee in for 10 minutes. So that, I think, was a game-changing call. We haven't seen many of them so far, but Wesley are very confident at the moment, Sudarshan. They are very confident. They've come through some very tough games. They've won some interesting matches as well. They've put points on the board. They've come from behind to win games. They've done everything this season, and this was the one that they actually controlled and managed to keep the Josephians out. So I think they'll be very happy with that performance.
So why I said St. Joseph were the favourites coming into that game. Josephians had a very good outing against ThePapare and Shanaka in the final week, but just a week before, Wesley had a heartbreak against Kingswood College, who's in the B division, 39 points to 40, and we thought that they might be a little bit demoralized coming into that game, but like I said, Wesley completely controlled that game and they saw it out. Saturday, Michael Gunaratna Trophy, Royal is coming down to Mount Lavinia. Not the result you expected.
No, it was the result I expected, to be very honest, Sudarshana, because I expected Royal to win. They have been the better side so far this season. I just expected that it might be a little bit closer, but I was speaking to one of my Royalist friends this morning and he said, well, I was surprised it wasn't 45 points. And I said, hey, we're not that bad. But I think Royal expected to win big. But I thought St. Thomas's gave a very good account of themselves in the first half. They actually went into the half-time break with a lead, 14 points to 12. And it was just a couple of moments of madness from the Thomians that handed the game to Royal, as it were. There was that really risky pass that resulted in Sabit scoring his first try. And then there was another moment of madness when Adisha Handun Patirana got himself yellow carded. And that's where the game changed, because if you look at Handun Patirana, he's the biggest guy on that Thomian first 15. And he's a strong guy. He's a guy who can mix it with them. So when you see your biggest, strongest, most aggressive guy going off, it drops the whole team. And that's what happened to St. Thomas's. And from that point on, Royal had a cakewalk pretty much. And I thought the Thomians were pretty bad defensively, to be honest, to put it mildly. And they never got the ball to Navin Henakan Kanamge in a way that he could be dangerous. There was one moment, again, a game-defining moment, where Shakir, well, there was a kick through, but there was one moment where he collected and had only Shakir to beat. And you would back him to beat that man any day of the week, but this time he couldn't. Shakir put in a try-saving tackle. And I think for me, he was the man of the match for Royal that day. He was absolutely outstanding, put in some great defensive efforts and the conversions, which really kept Royal away and out of the Thomians' reach. So I thought it was the best game Royal had played so far. And St. Thomas's have a bit of work to do. They don't have enough depth in their team, and the guys that come on, you can see the quality of the rugby drop when the replacements come on. And they too are missing Hans Walpola this time, diagnosed with dengue fever, so he may not play again this season, which is a huge blow for them.
Dengue has been the biggest threat for the Thomians. Christian Delisle missed half the first round because of the same sickness. And talking about the Royalist tactics, we did see a big change because Coach Sanav Maris wanted to send the ball out, and he was clear that he wanted to attack the St. Thomas's backline instead of the forwards play that we normally see Royal play.
Well, that's why I say it's the best game that Royal played, because they were far more all-round in an attacking sense. And Janit Dilshan was just running like a knife through butter because St. Thomas's didn't seem to want to tackle him. And once he gets in behind you, he's a big, strong boy, and he's got the skills to put people away as well. So it's a shame that Royal haven't used him a little better throughout the course of this season, but now I think they've found the kind of all-round game that can make them a much more dangerous side than they were. But let's make no mistake, Sudarshan, where Royal win matches is in their forwards. They are so aggressive at the breakdown. They're technically so good. that teams really suffer when they try to take them on up front. And it's that beating that they give you up front that allows guys like Dilshan to really operate at the outside tram line. So that's something that I think Royal shouldn't depart from, but it's good that they now have the ability to run the ball as well.
And also remember, initially the Royal set of forwards weren't that effective, which warranted the coach to bring people like Lennox Kalaratne into the pack. And also we see Nikhil George Gunawardene as the flanker now. He used to play fullback, he used to take kicks. That would have added that extra bit to the forwards as well.
Yeah, it would have, and I think what really is also coming through is the fact that St Thomas's didn't score a single point in the second half, and I think that's down to Royal's conditioning as well. If you remember the first game they played against St Joseph's, they came back into that game against a very strong side and managed to win. So Royal's conditioning has really been very good, and you can't fault them on any of that front. Preparation-wise, they look good. It's just that I think the best thing that happened to them was that loss against Isipatana, because they've changed things around. They've taken a good look at themselves and realized, okay, this is what we need to do. And the break has been very effective for them. Sudarshana, they've fixed what needs to be fixed. And now they're back, and Trinity should start looking over their shoulders.
So let's go to the next game. Upset of this week. The Bomber Brigade are proven giant killers this season. They've downed Isipatana, now they've downed unbeaten Trinity.
Well, it looks like they're the most important team in the league, isn't it? Because they've beaten the high flyers, and they've beaten them pretty well at the end of the day as well. So claiming the scalps of Trinity and Isipatana means that St. Peter's have what it takes. And it's just unfortunate that they've been so inconsistent over the course of the season. But Trinity will need to take a really long, hard look at themselves. If you look at the first try they conceded to Sudarshana, the ball squirts out of channel 3. And the ball shouldn't be going to channel 3 in the first place. It means that your second rows have fallen asleep. It means that your third rows are not doing their work. And it was a defensive scrum. You're inside your 22. That's when you need to be switched on. So as far as I'm concerned, for Trinity, it was just the fact that they were not switched on as a unit at all. And that really showed in that game, and the Peterites exploited it.
Absolutely. And also taking a look at a statistical point of that game, Shanaka, Trinity had 22 knock-ons, the highest number of knock-ons throughout this week in the 4 rounds play, and also St. Peter's had 12 knock-ons. So that would add up to 34 knock-ons. If we account for 1 minute per knock-on for a scrum, that makes 34 minutes.
Yeah, 40 minutes of scrum setting. I mean, how appalling is that for the spectators, right? So you pay good money and you go to watch scrums. That's not something that spectators want to see. So it's the accuracy, and I think that's where Trinity really let themselves down, because they've been an accurate side so far. They've managed to get the ball going into the hands. It's just that it's almost as if they've still thought they won the break. They thought this was their break week again. And St. Peter's, again, they played that smash and grab game. Lashan Vijayasuriya was having a little bit of trouble with his kicks at the Bambalapitiya grounds. He's not used to it. And make no mistake, the Peterites have players that can break a game. They've got Diath Fernando, Steven Sivaraj, Mendis, they've got Teekshan Eshan as well. All of these guys are match-winning players. And Trinity played into their hands, so that's something that Peterites will be very grateful for.
It was a very good game from the Peterites to deny Trinity of another victory, but Trinity, I thought, Shanaka, was still reeling on their first round success, and they thought that they can start from where they left, same momentum, same amount of passes that they throw. But what they failed to realize as a team, I believe, is that second round you need to start afresh, and it's 4 new games that you have to play. And but the good thing is, all is not lost for Trinity or the 4 teams in contention for the league. The formula is very simple. 3 more games, you win all 3, and you will be crowned as the league champions.
Yeah, absolutely. So all these teams have it in their hands. So you've got Royal with 1 loss, you've got Isipatana with 1 loss, you've got Trinity with 1 loss, and Wesley with just a 1 loss. Yeah, so just a 1 loss. So there you go. So you've got 4 teams with 1 loss, and they're all going head to head. It's going to be absolutely mouth-watering.
So wait for mouth-watering rugby when it comes to the coming weeks. I have a quick question from Shanaka. Like we did the last episodes, Shanaka, who do you think was the best team coming out from the break?
Best team coming out of the break probably have to go to Royal.
Absolutely, I thought so too. But do give in your answers. Isipatana was a contender because they did put up a good showing, but they didn't have the same offense as Royal did against the Thomian defenses. So do comment in on the comment section of what your answer will be. And that's it from the breakdown. I'm Sudarshana signing off alongside Shanaka for this week. Until next time, sharing the passion.